Hello students, in previous class we had discussion on procedure oriented programming, a brief history of C language and also the features of C programming language. In today's class, let us understand structure of C program. As we have discussed in previous class, C is a structured programming language. There is a fixed structure in which programmer writes a program. So let us see what are the different parts available in C program. The first section of C program contains preprocessor statements and global declarations. So preprocessor statements start with the hash symbol. There are two types, that is hash define and hash include, and this section also contains global declaration. So what are these include files? These are the library header files which provide a number of useful functions to build a C program. So here library files are nothing but these are the files which contains various functions which are useful to make different calculations in the program. For example, let me take back to you to the previous semester where we have used functions in Excel. So in MS Excel, to make use of any function, you go to the tab formula where you have the function library, in which there are various categories like maths and trigonometry, text functions, statistical, date and time. So if you want to use any of these functions, you need to select the function library and select the particular category. In the similar way, if in a C program we want to make use of any of the functions, we need to include the library file where that function is present. For example, hash include stdio.h. So stdio.h stands for standard input output. .h indicates here it is a header file. So this file contains the standard input output functions which can be used in C program to perform input and output operation. Input operation is nothing but accepting values or inputs from the user, whereas output functions are nothing but the functions which display the output or information to the user. In the similar way, we have math.h. So math.h is the library header file which contains various mathematical and trigonometry functions. Some of the examples are ABS, which is used to calculate absolute value, then SQRT to calculate the square root of a number, then the function POW to calculate the result of x raised to y, and so on. In the similar way, we have string.h. So string.h file contains various string related functions. String related functions are nothing but the functions which perform various operations on the text type of values. So here stdio.h is the mandatory file which should be included in each and every C program, whereas math.h and string.h are included only when they are required, only when we want to use any function from these two files. Macro definitions part is used to declare symbolic constants and expressions using define keyword. For example, hash define float pi, that is pi is equal to 3.142. So pi is called as the symbolic constant here. So wherever we want to use the pi value, that is 3.142, there we can use the symbolic constant pi, that is pi. So wherever we are using the symbol pi, there while execution the value will be replaced with 3.142. Immediately after preprocessor statements, we have global declarations. This part is the optional part in the C program. Global declarations are available to be used by entire statements in a program, including main function and other member functions. It may be variables or constants. As we have discussed in previous class, a C program can be divided into various subparts called as functions. So there can be some values which are common for all these functions. For example, suppose we are designing program for bank. So here we can have functions like deposit, withdraw, balance inquiry, opening account, and so on. So here the IFSC code of the bank is common to all the account holders of that particular bank. So this is common for all the functions. So such values which are common to all, which can be used by all the functions, are called as the global values, which are declared in this global declaration section. This global declaration section is optional. If you want to use any common values, those can be declared here. Otherwise, the values can be declared in every function separately, which should be used only for that function. For example, the amount to be withdrawn. So amount to be withdrawn has meaning only in the withdraw function. So that is called as local declaration. In global declaration, the values can be declared as it is given here. Int a is equal to 10. Const float m is equal to 28.5. In detail about this int and float we will be discussing in further classes. For now, you just understand int is nothing but it is integer values, that is the values without the fractional part, that is the whole numbers, whereas float is used for the decimal values, that is the values with the fractional part. After preprocessor statements and global declaration, we have main function. So every C program must have a main function. It is primary function where actual execution of the instructions begin and ends. All the instructions of main function are contained in a pair of brackets, and C program must contain a main function. So the syntax of main function is shown here. The main function contains various instructions related to data type declarations. So data type declarations contains various values which we are going to use in the program. For example, to calculate simple interest, we may require the values, that is principal amount, time, and rate of interest. So those must be declared in the data type declaration, and that follows the other instructions which are used for calculations. There can be also calls to the functions. As we discussed in previous slide, a C program can be divided into functions. So the functions can be called in this main function whenever required. After the main function, we have the last part, that is member functions. Last part in C program structure is for defining member functions. A programmer can construct his/her own functions and call them in the main function. Suppose this is the program designed for bank. Then this program can be divided into smaller functions such as opening of account, deposit, withdraw, and so on. So this part contains the definitions of all these functions. So definition indicates here, now to create or to open an account, what are the transactions performed. So the instructions related to those transactions will be present in this open account function. In the similar way, deposit function definition will have a set of instructions which specify what transactions must be performed to deposit amount in an account. So these functions are called in the main function wherever required. This is how the user-defined functions can be created in C program, and they are called in the main function. So this was all about the structure of C program. In next class, we will discuss some more basic concepts which you need to learn to write a C program.